So come to standing, lift and roll your shoulders. Raise your right arm, stretch up to the ceiling. Breathe out, turn your head to the left. Breathe in, bring your head back to the center. And breathe out, lower your right arm. And breathe in as you raise your left arm. Breathe out as you turn your head to the right. Breathe in as you bring your head back to the center. And breathe out as you lower your left arm. Lift and roll your shoulders. And then just sway gently from side to side. And just start to slow the movement down and come to the center. So I think there was a mention about under the arms. So in that spirit, if you bring your palms together and press, that little bit engages everything, but not a lot, I don't think. And then from here, just drop your arms, raise your right arm and drop it behind you, and then slide your left hand up to just touch your right elbow, just your, I don't know if you can see yet, well done. And you'll find that this stretches you underneath the arm. Just take a breath here, in and out. And then very gently release. Lift and roll your shoulders. And raise your left arm, drop it behind you. And then slide your right hand up, almost to the top of the elbow. And again, you'll feel that stretch under the arm. And then very gently release. Lift and roll your shoulders. And then we're going to come to lying. So on your back, we're starting this practice with a focus on the base of the spine. So come to lying, both knees bent, both feet on the ground, hip width apart. And bring your left knee into your chest, hugging that in. Your right knee can stay bent, or you can stretch your right leg along the ground to increase the stretch. It depends which you prefer. But either way, start to circle your left knee in one direction. And then start to circle the left knee in the other direction. And then circle the left ankle in one direction. And circle the left ankle in the other direction. Supporting the left leg underneath by clasping your hands, raise your left leg upwards, sole the foot towards the ceiling. Extend your heel and stretch the back of the leg. And then optionally walk your hands up the back of your left leg, and you can bring your head up as you bring your leg towards your face. And then very gently relax back down. Hug your knee into the chest and gently replace your left foot on the floor, keeping either the left knee bent or stretching out along the floor as you bring your focus to your right side and hug your right knee into your chest. Very gently circle your right knee a few times in one direction. And then circle your right knee a few times in the other direction. Circle your right ankle a few times. And then circle it in the other direction. And then clasping your hands underneath your right thigh, extend your right foot upwards towards the ceiling and extend your right heel. And then walk your hands up the back of your right leg, and you can optionally bring your head up towards your right leg, and then very gently walk your hands back down as you lower your head back down to the ground. And hug your right knee into the chest. Hug your left knee into your chest so that both knees are hugged in, and just gently rock from side to side. Place one foot and then the other foot onto the ground so that your knees are to the ceiling and your feet are hip width apart. And then breathing in, raise your elbows and arms upwards and behind you. Stretching your arms behind you. Your chin might go down towards your chest. You can even arch your back so that there's a little gap under your lower back to get a full stretch. And then breathing out, bend your elbows and hold each elbow with the other hand. And this time just slide your elbows towards the right. So it's going to be your left elbow that moves a little bit more. And feel the stretch under the arms, particularly on the left side. And then come back to the centre and just slide your upper body slightly to the left, which will mean that your right elbow goes towards your midline and towards the left. And just feel that stretch. And then come back to the centre. You straighten yourself up. And breathing out, separate your elbows and lower your arms back down alongside you. Hug one knee and then the other knee into the chest. And then breathing in, both soles of the feet to the ceiling, extend both heels as you raise your arms up and behind you, stretching out, chin to chest. Breathing out, hug both knees in towards you. And breathing in, soles of the feet once more up towards the ceiling as you raise your arms also up and behind you. Extend your heels. And breathing out, hug your knees in towards your chest. And then just rock gently from side to side. And then hug both knees into the chest, still holding them, let your knees drift away to arm's length. Hugging both knees into the chest and then let them drift away to arm's length. Again, a couple of times, hugging the knees into the chest and then let them drift away to arm's length. And then once more. And then release both feet to the ground, so knees are up to the ceiling. Open your arms so that palms are down and your arms are at shoulder height. If that's too much for under your arms, just lower them slightly to make an A, but a T shoulder height opening would be good. Widen your feet a little bit beyond the hip width apart. And just gently let both knees drop to the right. Your head turns to the left, either looking up or along the mat. And your left arm palm turns upwards to the ceiling. Take an in and an out breath. Bring both knees back to center, your head back to center, and your left palm turns down. And then let both knees drift over to the left. Your head turns to the right, and your right palm turns up. So you'll feel the movement in your shoulder socket, but also at the hip level as well. And take an in and an out breath. Again, bring everything back to the center and turn your right palm down. As your knees drift over to the right, your head turns to the left, and your left palm turns up. Come back to the center, turning your left palm down, and as your knees drift over towards the left, your head turns to the right, and your right palm turns up. And now you can speed it up a little bit. Don't think about it, just do it. And it should be a natural movement, but if you get it wrong or muddled, don't worry. It's doing you good anyway as you sway gently from side to side. And then gently come back to the center. Bring your feet to hip width apart and bring your hands back down alongside you. And this time, hug your left knee into your chest with your left hand and place your right hand behind your head, supporting your head and neck. As you breathe out, lift your head and your shoulders slightly and aim your right elbow towards your left knee. And then breathing out, just relax everything back down to the ground. You're still hugging your left knee into your chest. Breathe out, lift up, and just turn your right elbow towards your left knee. And then just breathing out, come down. And last time, breathing in, lifting up, and turn your right elbow towards the left knee. And breathing out, release and relax down. Release your left foot down to the floor. And release your right hand from under your head. And now hug your right knee in towards your chest with your right hand. And take your left palm, supporting it, you're supporting your head underneath you with your left palm. And breathing out, lift up your head and aim your left elbow towards your right knee. They don't have to touch. Then just relax back down to the ground. And then the same again, left elbow towards the right knee and coming back down again. And once more coming up, left elbow towards the right knee and then coming back down again. Release your right foot to the floor and release your left hand from underneath your head. And then just very, very gently sway your knees from side to side. And come to either roll to the side, to the right, or come by hugging your knees in and rocking up. You're going to come to a seated position. And come to Baddha Konasana. So I don't know if you have a thought for the day soon, but don't worry if you don't. But any focus as you place the soles of your feet together? Anything you might want to add for today?
Yes, what about doing the stomach area, which is basically your instep, the very soft area, just inside your feet. You can rub them both around in a clockwise direction.
Okay, whereabouts is that point, Sue?
So that's in your instep.
Yes.
Your foot, so halfway, sort of between the edge of each edge of your foot, halfway in the middle, the soft area.
Okay.
With this bones there in the instep. That's your stomach area. So
Okay.
if you do each one side, rub it round in a clockwise direction, because that's the direction of the food.
Oh yes, of course.
The digestive system works in a clockwise direction, so it's quite soothing, especially if you've got stomach problems.
That feels lovely. And
It's
soothing.
quite comforting, isn't it?
Yes. And then very gently come to release that hold and come to have your legs out in a wide V. Just bounce your legs, setting up a vibration. Either rub your legs or pat your legs, depending on what your preference is. And then just slide your hands down both legs and come forward centrally. You can hold your big toes, you can rest your hands on your shins. It's a subtle forward bend. You can press your hands onto your shins to lengthen your spine before coming forward. The soles of your feet, the toes are pointing upwards to the ceiling. And then very gently come to sitting upright. Cross your legs in an easy cross-legged position. If that doesn't work for you, then just stay with your legs outwards. And holding either your knees or just below your knees, breathe in, sitting up. This is going to be a seated cat-cow. Breathing out, round your back, your chin comes towards your chest. And again, a few times as you breathe in, sitting up, and then breathing out, round chin to chest. Again, sitting up and rounding chin to chest. In like a wave motion, sitting up and rounding chin to chest. And then come to sitting up. Just place both hands either side of you, and then slide your left hand out towards the left as you reach your right arm up, and come over in a lateral stretch. Chin tucks in. You can do this dynamically by bouncing your hands slightly in and out, or just a static movement. Tummy in to support you as you slide your left hand back and stretch your right hand up, and then lower your right hand back down to the ground. Slide your right hand out towards the right as you tip over and lift up your left arm, either dynamically, the palms down, tucking your chin in, or statically. And then pressing your hand down as you tilt yourself back upwards. Lift and roll your shoulders. I think this is more difficult as you clasp your hands behind you and aim the knuckles to the ground. You can lift your hands then slightly. It just opens you at the shoulder level. And then release your hands. Bring your hands to the front and just walk your hands slightly forward to come into a forward bend. Taking an in and an out breath. And then walk your hands back. Just touch under your knees to bring them upright. And we're going to come to roll onto our knees and come to a tabletop position to again do a cat-cow movement. So hands are shoulder width apart and knees are hip width apart. And just classically dipping your back as you breathe in and breathing out as you round. Your chin comes to your chest, you round your back. And again, as you breathe in, dip your back, either looking up or along the mat, depending where your neck is. And breathing out, round your back, the chin comes to your chest. And then one more time. And then come to neutral and this is thread the needle, take your right hand, palm up and thread it through behind your left hand to rest on your right shoulder and the right side of your head. Your bottom is up and your left hand can stay where it is or it can crawl slightly forward towards the front of the mat to stretch out your left arm. That's an option. It's opening out your right shoulder, the right side of your head, your right side. And then very gently slide your right hand palm through again to come back to tabletop. You might want to adjust your left hand if you've had it forward. Once more, do a cat-cow a couple of times just to rebalance the spine. And then very gently turn the left palm upwards and slide it in a threading the needle action underneath behind your right hand, resting on the mat, and come to rest on your left shoulder, left side of the head on the ground. And your right hand can stay static, or it can just where it is, or it can move slightly forward up to the top of the mat. Your bottom is high, and you're stretching out now your left side, your left shoulder. Tummy in as you slide out and come back to cat, or tabletop, and then we come into cat. Breathing in, dipping the back, looking up or along the mat. Breathing out, rounding the back, chin to chest. And then again, cat, cow. And this time as you round your back into cow, tuck your toes and then come into a very soft downward dog. Bend your knees bottom high, weight away from your wrists and hands, and then begin to straighten the legs. You can widen your feet, and then you can begin to walk the dog by bending one knee and then the other. You can sway your hips from side to side. Bend both knees. Lengthen your back and then straighten. And once more, bend both knees, lengthen your back, bottom high, and then begin to straighten your legs. Your heels don't have to touch the ground at all. And then just gently begin to walk your feet towards your hands towards your feet. So as you come towards the top of your mat in a forward fold, breathing in, straighten your back, lengthen along your spine. Breathing out, curl in, bend your knees, and start to roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And when you're there, just lift and roll your shoulders. Bring your hands to your heart. Breathing in, circle your hands up either looking up or looking ahead. Breathing out, bend your knees, bend your elbows, and come to have both hands either side of your feet. Breathing in, step or slide your right foot back, keep your right foot high, and extend your right heel. Now bend your right knee back to the earth, and slide your left knee back. We're back in tabletop. Cat, dipping your back. Breathing out, round your back, chin to chest, cow. Tuck your toes and come into downward dog. Walking the dog by bending one knee and then the other knee. You can adjust your feet to wider than hip width apart here. And then bend both knees back down to the earth. Your hand goes to the left, your right foot comes up, and then your hands go either side of your right foot. Kneeling up, raise your hands up, almost like a variation on Warrior One. And then breathing out, lower your hands back down to either side of your foot. Tuck your left toes underneath. Lift up your left knee. And then step or slide your left foot towards your right at the top of your mat. Hands on your shins as you breathe in and lengthen from your tailbone to the top of the head. Breathe out as you bend your knees and bend your elbows. And then as you breathe in, press your feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Raising your hands up, either looking up or straight ahead, and breathing out, lower your hands. Bring your hands to your heart center. Circle your hands up, stretch up. Looking up or forward. Breathing out, bend your knees, bend your elbows, and roll down, hands either side of your feet. Breathing in, step or slide your left foot back, stay high, stretching out the back of the left leg. Now bend your left knee back down to the earth and slide your right foot back to the tabletop. Cat, cow. Breathing in, dipping your back, looking up or along the mat. Cow as you round your back, chin to chest, and then come to tuck your toes. Come back into your downward dog. Feel that you can adjust your feet slightly wider to support your downward dog. Inside of the elbows facing each other. And then basically walk the dog by bending one knee and bending the other knee, swaying from side to side. And then bending both knees and extending them. And now bending both knees back down to the ground. Hands go to the right. To give space for your left foot to come up. Hands either side of your left foot. Bring your left knee back to a 90 degree to roll up. Hands upwards in your variation of Warrior One. And then hands either side of your front left foot. Tuck your left toes, tummy in. Lift your right knee and step your right foot towards your left foot. Breathing in, lengthening along your spine. And breathing out, bend your knees, soften your elbows, and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Raising your hands up. Just sway from side to side. And then bring your hands together through the center and come back down to lying on the mat, knees bent. Feet hip width apart. And palms are down as we do a couple of pelvic tilts. Flattening the back as if you're going to lift your bottom and then just releasing and rounding. Flattening your back and then rounding. Just bring your feet, they're hip width apart still, but just closer to your bottom. If you could always touch your heels with your fingers. And your shoulders are down away from your ears, palms down. As you start to breathe in, press your feet down, lift your bottom and lift your arms up behind you, chin into your chest. Stretch behind you. Start to breathe out and your arms will naturally follow as you lower your back down to the earth. Hug your knees into your chest. Soles of the feet to the floor, palms down. Press your feet down as you lift up again, raising your arms up above you. Check that your knees aren't splaying out, that almost they're pointing ahead, and then start to breathe out as you lower your arms and your back down to the earth. And when your back is on the earth, hug both knees into the chest and place your feet on the floor. And again, press your hands into the ground, lifting you up, and lift then your arms up above you, stretching behind you. Breathing out as you lower your hands and your back down to the floor. And then hug your knees into your chest. Just rock gently from side to side. And then optionally, slide your hands down your shins and place them under the soles of your feet for a happy baby. If you don't like that, then just hug your knees into your chest as you were before and rock from side to side. You can still rock from side to side with happy baby. Your knees are aiming towards the earth. And then gently release your happy baby. Slide your hands underneath your thighs. Support them. You can clasp your hands and just softly raise your both legs up to the ceiling. And just sway your feet from side to side. So it's like a seaweed swaying action. It becomes an inversion. But a very soft one. Your knees can be bent, your elbows can be slightly bent. And then hug both knees into the chest. And we're going to roll onto our tummies. So come to however you want to come into a Sphinx pose. So I'm going to come to kneeling and then come to gently lying on my tummy. Elbows are resting on the ground. And your knees can be a little bit apart. Just feel comfortable. Look down towards the floor. Eyes can be open or closed. Just have a sense that your shoulders are not scratching up towards your ears. But just adjust to feel comfortable. And just wobble your bottom from side to side slightly. And take a couple of breaths in and out, looking along the floor. So this becomes a back bend because you're lifting from the chest. But the angle on the back is a much softer or more gentle angle than perhaps cobra. Just come to line by bending your elbows out to the side and resting your forehead on the backs of your hands. Widen your knees slightly and lift both soles of the feet to the ceiling and just sway them from side to side in a windscreen wiper movement action. You can stay like this, just enjoying a gentle sway. If you want to be a little bit more, take this to another step, then you can do the bow, which would be taking your elbows out from behind you, catching hold of your ankles and lifting up, but that's an option. And when you're ready, come out of bow. Check to just release your hands gradually. Come back to swaying your legs from side to side. And then place your hands palms down alongside your chest. Maybe bring your knees in a little bit. Lengthen your legs along the floor. Elbows are in as you press down to come back to kneeling. And then bring your bottom back towards either child pose, extended child's pose with the big toes together. Or you can have your bottom higher up towards the ceiling and your forehead down on the ground, or your forehead resting on the backs of your hands. So you can have your bottom really towards your heels, extended child, or your bottom up high. That's easy also on your knees. Take a couple of breaths in and out. And then very gently come to bring your hands towards you as you come to sitting up. And come to a cross-legged position. And come to imagine your hands can rest on your knees, palms down or palms up, your thumb and your second finger can touch. Just come to imagine breathing in and out through the third eye. You gently close your eyes, just breathing into the third eye, into the centre of your head, and breathing out. The breath leaves through the third eye in this visualization. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you breathe in and out, I'm just going to go through the Koshi elements of earth. Breathing in and out through third eye. And then the next Koshi element is the element of water. Breathing in and out through the third eye. And then the next element is fire. The final element is the element of air that correlates with the ether element to the third eye. And then once more, take a breath in and out through the third eye. Bring your hands, palms together at the heart. Then raise the palms still together to the third eye. And then bring your hands back to your heart to have a very lovely day ahead. And thank you very much for joining me.